Joy Guru to all of you and a big welcome to the nationwide virtual Utsav 2021 Satsang Canada. In this session, Prayatna, we will be discussing 3 messages from the holy book Satyanusaran, which in English is the pursuit of truth. People from different ages and different parts of Canada will be participating in this panel discussion. Satyanusaran is the only handwritten book by Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra. This book was written on 1910 when Sri Thakur was only 22 years old at the request of one of his devotees who was moving away to his new workplace. Then, in one spontaneous outpouring, in the course of one night, Sri Thakur wrote down these celestial messages unfolding everlasting guidance of life and light. After the discussion of each message, we will summarize the key thought behind it. Now, let us start the discussion. The first message is desire unfulfilled is misery. Don't expect anything. Be prepared for every situation. What can grief do to you? Our first speaker, Mr. Saurabh Kaur from Montreal. Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Offering my regards to the lotus feet of Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra. My regards to Sri Bodoma. My regards to Sri Borda. And my regards to Acharya Dev Sri Dada. Joy Guru to all. I am here today to discuss on one of the sayings of Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra mentioned in Satyanusaran. Desire unfulfilled is misery. Don't expect anything. Be prepared for every situation. What can grief do to you? This para has a deep meaning in it. We might have seen the situations other than accidents or miscalculation. The cause of all human misery is the failure to use the capacity to reason. The power of reason is the primary cause of all human achievement and failure. All conflicts in human life are due to expectations. The word I, my desire, my expectation is the main cause of pain. We are expecting people to follow our way, but am I be able to follow their way? Why should I listen to him? If I like a flower, say rose, it is not necessary that the other person will also like rose. He might like something else. Similarly, I cannot expect what I think my spouse and my children will also think the same. This whole situation creates a conflict in our belief. Such type of thinking creates a strong belief system which give rise to an expectation. Having expectation is normal, but to change our belief system to a right direction, we need a living ideal. A living ideal or his ideology can guide us to a proper direction in misery. Following the ideology will lead us to live a life in a planned and peaceful manner without any expectations. If I always run to achieve or get the best thing in my life, I will never get satisfaction in my life. I will always think that whatever I have is very less for me and there will be no end of my expectations. A rich man might have lots of money, but he might not be happy with the number of dishes his mother or his spouse cooked for him. His life will be in grief because his expectations will never going to be fulfilled. On the other hand, a poor guy is happy with only one dish as he don't have any expectations. Like rich people, he has controlled his expectations and accepted his life to live in whatever he has. Similarly, following the sayings or ideology of Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra can help us to control our expectations and we can be ready for each and every situations so that we can always live a peaceful and happy life. Joy Guru.
Thank you, Mr. Saurabh Kaur, for your insightful explanation. Mr. Kaur explained the cause of all human misery comes from over expectation and how to control our desire. Thank you again. Now I will move on next speaker, Mr. Sripati Mahanti from Toronto.
Joy Guru. I am very delightful to give my thoughts on a beautiful yet powerful line from Satyanusaran, and I quote, "Desire unfulfilled is misery. Do not expect anything. Be prepared for every situation. What can grief do to you?" So, what is desire? Desire is the emotion of longing or hoping for a person, object, outcome, or maybe expecting a little more than what we have right now. Desire is a contract we make to be unhappy. We carry within us an insatiable desire for more, which is a destroyer of contentment. Although the fulfillment of our wants can somehow repair our yearning souls momentarily. But when expectations do not match the reality, we are left disappointed, shattered, and at times miserable. This can be avoided if we have controls on our expectations. Alongside of all the amazing gifts, human life is full of challenges, mistakes, struggles, and regrets. Those who are surrounded by it and fail to accept them as a part of their life, left with discomfort, suffering, and agony. But when someone embraces these and put valiant effort without any expectations, can accomplish many things, maybe in a smaller or a larger scale. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the meaning of our duty for desire is in the intention. The intention behind the action is what matters. Those who are motivated only by the desire for the fruit of actions are miserable, for they are constantly anxious about the results of what they do. As a human being, we desire many things. In discussing the body, we would probably take desire for granted. But imagine how different the nature of life would have been if there were no desires. Mostly, we are fond of materialistic desires instead of spiritual desires, which is the cause of bondage. Sometimes, this gives us immense power to achieve what we expect, and that gives maybe a little happiness in the process. But if by any means we fail to achieve what we have expected for so long, becomes the source of unhappiness, discomfort, and suffering. A humorous acronym for this context would be NATO, or not attached to outcome. Consider its application in regular course of life. If we work hard and harder in our respective jobs and be absolutely honest in our efforts without expecting a quick promotion or a sudden pay raise, then we will be able to coexist with our professions without any performance pressure, anxiety, or hopelessness, isn't it? Finally, everything that we do is the will of Supreme Father, and this is fate. We should keep this in our mind that He is with us, always, everywhere. In every situation, we need to understand that this is His blissful will. This thought, rather, will give strength and courage in our heart, keeping misery away from us. In fact, His presence in our heart will lead us to happiness in the ocean of grief. Joy Guru.
Thank you, Mr. Sipati Mohanty. You have mentioned three things: NATO, not attached to outcome; work hard without expectation; faith in Supreme Lord. I love this prescription for the contentment and the happiness. Thank you. Now I will move on to the next speaker, Mr. Mithu Dev from Calgary.
Jai Guru. My name is Bitu and I'm from Calgary. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Today I'm going to share a little bit about the page number 7 from the Sotanusaran, and the topic is desire unfulfilled is misery. Don't expect anything. Be prepared for every situation. What can grief do to you? The lack of happiness which brings weakness and fear in the heart is grief. And nobody is miserable by nature. If one wishes, he can drive it out of their mind by having an abundance mindset and not a scarcity mindset. When we have an abundance mindset, our purpose in life is much bigger than ourselves. It's about how many people we can serve unselfishly without any expectation in return. The people of the scarcity mindset always feel that something is lost when we give to others, while people with the abundance mindset always feels that we create a vacuum and space by giving to others so that it can be filled with abundance. As Thakur and Chandra says, that unfulfilled desire is misery. According to me, what he's trying to say is that our desires are only constrained to ourselves or me. In those situations, we feel that we have fallen to a level of comparison to somebody else, which is the main cause of grief and sorrow in today's world. The only person we can compare to is ourselves, how we were yesterday, and how we can improve from what we were yesterday. We should always hope for the best. At the same time, we should always prepare for the worst because there is an utter feeling that there is supreme power who is constantly guiding us and helping us through this situation, and he will take care of us. For example, in these COVID times, we can choose to be in grief, or we can choose to be in a spirit of positiveness and surround ourselves with the supreme power and being totally devoted to God because we know he will take care of the situation and help us come out of it with a stronger note. How do we keep prepared for every situation? When we start to look at these positives in every situation, we can feel blessed for a lot of things that we see around us. Whereas if you only focus on the negatives and what we are lacking, we always have the feeling of the scarcity in our mind, and the same pollutes our environment and the same reflects on us as well. People can smell that and people can understand that we are creating a negative aura around us. How can we give to the society our best if we don't have our best? So at the end, we can all pray to the Supreme Power by saying that Thy will is good. I don't know what will make me good. Let Thy will be fulfilled in me, and be ready to accept that. The joy will remain and sorrow will not touch us, or rather, it will be diluted because our focus is now no longer on ourselves only. Misery and happiness are both states of mind. We can opt to choose either the happiness or the positive, or we can opt to choose the negative or the misery. We may serve the world in 1,000 different ways, but we cannot destroy its misery until the sense of inadequacy is removed from our heart. Once we give with the abundance mindset, once we give with the faith, we start to see a lot of great things happening around us because offering without faith is a waste of flowers. Dharma teaches us to be one. There is no variety. The views can be different, but all of them talks about having faith in the Almighty and being the best version of ourselves. And that's the best way we can do our service to the humanity because that's the best way we can become a best disciple of the Almighty Sri Sri Thakur and Kulchandra. That's all I had to share. Thank you so much. Jai Guru.
Thank you, Mr. Mithudev. You explained this message very well. Nobody is miserable in nature. Desires are constrained to ourselves, and that is the main cause of misery. Good. Now, I would like to thank you all for your wonderful explanations. So, the key thought is that we clearly understood misery comes from our over expectations. It drives us towards the endless desire, one after one. I am not at all idealistic. I can go anywhere. Again, if I am not goal oriented, my mind will play around. To reach the goal or to upgrade ourselves, we have to accept all challenges. Another way, we can say this is to be prepared for all situations we encounter. We know evaluation taught us the way of existence. If we fit in with any situation, every little object of life will make our lives better and easier. But our endless greedy desires leads us to the edge of distractions. If we learn to adjust our unmet aspirations, words like misery, pain, etc., will be erased from our lives. Now, I will move on to the next message, and the speaker is Mr. Kailash Chetri. The message is: know this for certain. You are responsible for the present and future of yourself, your family, your environment, and your country. Thanks.
Joy Guru. My topic for discussion is from Satyanusaran in English, page 17, where Sri Thakur says, know this for certain. You are responsible for the present and future of yourself, your family, your environment, and your country. What Thakur said encompasses a broad meaning. Indeed, we cannot change past, but of course, the control of our present is in our hand. We have the power to greatly influence the future by consciously making present moment choices that are consistent with the future we want. As we all know that our lives are the reflections of our decisions. Every action we take has negative or positive consequences depending on type of action taken. People have both good and bad habits. These habits can impact on the people around us. Today, bad habits such as wasting considerable amount of time in social media such as Facebook, YouTube, or TikTok, or spending time in gossiping or criticizing others are very popular in our modern society. Especially from the time children are born, they learn how to live in the world by observing and imitating those around them. Therefore, being parents, we have a big responsibility to be a good role model. If parents abuse alcohol or drugs, their children are more likely to do the same. Children whose parents are emotionally there for their kids have better social, academic, and well-being outcomes than those whose parents aren't available. Today's children are tomorrow's citizens, so we must help shape the citizens of the future by being a good role model. So in order to be a good role model, we have to be mindful in our habits, decisions, and actions we take. Ask questions with why on what we do. As you start to answer the question, you are shifting your thinking into a whole new direction toward a positive outcome or a solution. Mindfulness is about being consciously aware of thoughts and feelings that are happening in the present moment as opposed to being in default mode. Practicing mindfulness can slow us down, take us out of default mode, and give us a window of opportunity between thought and action where we can make a choice to allow a better future. And as a Satsangi Guru Bhai or Guru Ma, we are fortunate that we are guided from the day one when we take initiation with Nam and Dhyan, name and meditation. So, here the gist what Thakur wants to tell us is whatever we sow, we will reap, and our life will manifest it. Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Mr. Kailash Chetri, who is from Calgary. You have explained the message very well. as well as how life reflects on our decision. So, if I do good in the present, my future will be good too. Perfect. Now, I will move on to the next speaker, Mr. Atanu Ghosh from Montreal.
Jai Guru. I offer my pranam to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Thakur, Paramaradhya Jagatjanani Sri Sri Barma, Param Pujyapada Sri Sri Barda, Param Pujyapada Acharya Dev Sri Sri Dada. It gives me immense pleasure to be a part of this nationwide virtual Utsav 2021 to celebrate the holy 133rd birth anniversary of our love Lord Param Premamoy Sri Sri Thakur Nukul Chandra. Today my topic of discussion is one of the verses from the holy book Satyanusaran, The Pursuit of Truth, where Sri Sri Thakur says, "Know this for certain, you are responsible for the present and the future of yourself, your family, your environment, and your country." I believe each one of us has immense potential to influence our surroundings. When we do something good, it spread across the environment, and our friends, colleagues, they notice that change, and some of them even try to bring that change in their lives also. So in this way, we spread some good things in our society. Similarly, if we do something bad, that also spread across the environment very soon. So I think we have to be very careful, we have to be very watchful on what we do, what we say. I remember when we started satsang in Montreal back in 2018, people always used to join the satsang late, they used to come late. But as you know, that satsang always starts on time. So we used to start the satsang on time, like me, my wife and my daughter. And our friends, they used to join the satsang always late. But they noticed that it always starts on time. So what happened eventually, as the time progressed, they also started joining the satsang on time. And now, by the grace of Sri Sri Thakur, whatever programs we have, like satsang, symposium, they always join on time. So I think in this way we could bring some positive changes in the environment we live in. We often see that people, when they are at home, they criticize others, they pinpoint faults on others in front of their children. They even do not realize that the children, they mimic their parents. They learn what they see in their parents. So what happens is they also start, adopting those habits in them, and they also follow the same thing when they are with their friends. Sri Sri Thakur has said in Satyanusaran, if you do good yourself, thousands of people will good seeing your example. If you be bad, you will find no one to sympathize when you are in distress, because being bad, you have made your environment bad. We often see that people all, criticize the country, criticize the society, criticize the politicians for the bad things that happen. But they do not realize that who creates the society? We, the individual human beings, we, the families. We create the societies, we are also part of the society. So we should first look into ourselves that if we are doing the right thing, if we are doing the good things, so if we start doing the good things, start bringing the positive things in ourselves, that will also reflect in the society. With this, I would like to conclude here. Jai Guru. Vande Purushottamam.
Jai Guru, Mr. Atanu Ghosh. You have illustrated nicely. You have explained that we can influence our surroundings easily and how to change our environment that will also reflect in the society. Well done. Now, I will welcome Mr. Chitrosen Jena from Toronto. Jai Guru.
ओम ब्रह्म परम ब्रह्म कुड़मालिक राधे दयाल कोटि कोटि प्राण. Joy Guru everyone, and thank you so much for joining with us on this auspicious occasion. Today I am going to read one of the holy messages from Satyanusaran and will try to translate the message to the best of my knowledge. Know this for certain, you are responsible for the present, future of yourself and your family, your environment and your country. So here our Parampita, our Paramatma is trying to emphasize on each and individual and saying me or we are only responsible for the present and our future. In other words, our thoughts, our decisions, our properties are the most important one, and that reflects in our society, our personalities. If we look at our modern science, where quantum physics or the wave mechanics explains how the particle, which is consisting of neutron, proton and electrons, moves around and interact with the nature. On this context, Vedic science says to rectify ourselves, we must get control over our properties. And they explain that they are called Triguna, which acts behind each and every decision we make. As we know, those are Sattva, Rajas, and Tamo. And they say, and their principle said, we must surrender ourselves to our Ishta, our God, to get the balance of these three qualities. On this context, our Paramatma, our beloved Sri Sri Thakur, beautifully says in Satyanusaran that take to the feet of a true master, go on taking holy name, and remain in the company of devote. Truly I say, you have no more to worry for your elevation. Meaning, Thakur here is saying, follow these three steps. Firstly, surrender yourself to a true master and take the holy name and go to the shelter of satsang. If we do follow these three timely, then we don't need to worry about our self elevation, because that works automatically in a scientific way. As a result, we will gain the eternal peace. As for an example, if we take any type of a great philosopher, spiritual leader, or a true master, their thoughts, their ideologies, their principles spreads over the society and helps others, million of people, to live peaceful life and attracts globally to get the spirit. So we must surrender ourselves to our Paramatma, our Ishta, Sri Sri Thakur, and adopt his ideologies to get the better life. Let's always chant his name and sign our life. With this, I wanted to end my talk. Jai Guru, Bande Purushottamam.
Joy Guru, Mr. Chitra Senjana, thank you very much for your insightful explanations. You mentioned we must surrender to our true master, then we can control our Vitti Pavitti and to balance our Shatto, Rajo and Tamo. Now, I would like to explore the key thought beyond this message. We know all creatures in the world are interdependent. We cannot live solely. If we look for a better society to live in, every individual has to take the responsibility. Even if a single person changes, that change could radiate to thousands and thousands. In nature, we see one water well can change the barren land and transform into a nice green field. We know Newton's third law of motion states that in every action in nature there is an equal and opposite reaction. In reality, we are occupied in the materialistic temptations and we are piling them up in our lives. In this new world, we are not even ready to think about our emotional, mental, and spiritual growth. Our negligence of these basic issues is the reason we are not truly happy and satisfied even after tons of money and possessions. Our environment is getting worse day by day. We are destroying our future, so it is time to take responsibility of our lives in every way so we can make a better future. In Magnetic, Sri Thakur said, page number 241, when every individual with his community for the common interest to uphold the mission of life and growth with every free access enter in a common platform conjointly to serve one another to hasten prosperity and welfare of every socio-individual ruling. Now, I will move on to the next message, and the speaker is Mr. Deepak Datta from Vancouver. The message is, take to the feet of a true master, go on taking the holy name, and remain in the company of the devout. Truly I say, you have no more to worry for your elevation. Jai Guru.
I convey my pranam to the lotus feet of my master, Sri Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra. I convey my pranam to Paramaradha Jagat Janani Sri Sri Borama, Param Pujyapad Sri Sri Borda, Param Pujyapad Acharya Dev Sri Sri Dada, and to the entire Reverend Thakur family. I convey my Ranandita Joy Guru to my all brothers and sisters. I shall try to share my thoughts on a paragraph from Sri Sri Thakur's epoch-making book Sattyanusaran. The paragraph is, take to the feet of a true master, go on taking the holy name, and remain in the company of devout. Truly I say, you have no more to worry for your elevation. I pray to my Lord to give me strength so that I can share my ideas correctly, as I know it is not easy to share the thoughts by a person like me without his blessings. Let me start the discussions. Who is the true master? How can I find a true master in my life? As per Sri Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra, a true master is one who comes from above the region of complexes and conveys the law of being and becoming is the true master. In our life, for being and becoming, why a true master is essential. Let me refer some discussions Sri Sri Thakur had with the persons at different times. One day, Thakur was asked by a person, "Can you please tell me your ideology in just 2 words?" Sri Sri Thakur replied, "Be concentric." Sri Sri Thakur then asked this person, "Can you be concentric without a center?" "No, it is not possible to be concentric without a center. But who would be by my center?" Sri Sri Thakur said, "Be concentric around a living ideal." "Oh, be concentric around a living ideal? So what happens if Henry Ford is my living ideal?" Sri Sri Thakur replied promptly, "If Henry Ford is your ideal, you can probably become another Henry Ford, but you cannot become Jesus Christ. The higher, the more potential ideal that we have at the center of our life, the more success we achieve in our life." Let us take some example what we find in the present age and time. A person is very honest and very successful in his office, but he is very unhappy in his family life. Another person is very happy in his family life, but he is very unpopular in social life. We rarely find a person who is happy in life in all respect. One day, one scientist came to Sri Sri Thakur, and during conversation, this Sri Sri Thakur asked the scientist, "Have you ever gone to the market to buy vegetables?" The scientist replied, "Yes, during childhood I went several times." Sri Sri Thakur, "How did you know that the shopkeeper is giving you the right weight?" The scientist replied, "It is simple. The shopkeeper has a balance. He put weight on one side of the balance and vegetable on the other. There are 2 nails at the center of the balance, small nails at the top and big one below. I used to look at the bigger nails aligning with the small nail, and when the balance is perfect, I used to know weight of the vegetable is perfect." Sri Sri Thakur then said, "When buying simple vegetable, you need to look for balance. Our life is also filled with problems and difficulties. Do you not feel? To bring balance in life, we also need to align with Supreme Father at our center." Sri Sri Thakur again told, "True Master, who comes at every age as the protector, savior of mankind, who comes for protecting us, to teach us the right path of being and becoming, and help us to exist and grow." From the above discussions, we can now easily conclude, if you want to be happy in life in all respect, or we want to bring balance, we need to align with a true master at our center. We must take initiation of a true master, run our life with ideology of true master, and chant the holy name at all times, even when we are doing some work. And if we do so, Sri Sri Thakur told in Satyanusaran, "Truly I say, you have no more to worry for your elevation." Bande Purushottamam.
Jai Guru, Mr. Deepak Datta, you have explained the message eloquently. You have clearly explained that we must have a true master and to be aligned with him. Then we can lead a balanced life, and we can also bring joy and happiness in our life. Thank you very much. Now, I will move on to the next speaker, Mr. Shrank Gupta from Montreal. Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Today, I offer my prayer to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Thakur Anukul Chandraji, Sri Sri Borda, Sri Sri Borma, Sri Sri Param Pujya Charade, Sri Sri Dada. Today, I feel very happy to be part of the nationwide Utsav, which is happening on 6th of February. Now the question is, do I really live a meaningful life? And am I going in the right direction or not? As humans, we have the tendency of overestimating ourselves in most of the departments of our lives. For example, we all know money can't bring us happiness, but most of us chase after it in life, not thinking how much we are sacrificing for it. So we have to think over here what we are overestimating. Here we are overestimating the power of money actually. And there are other examples like that. Since there is only one life to live, it should be lived in the right direction. And who's gonna give us the right direction? So this is where taking holy name and following the instructions that by our Guru Sri Sri Thakur comes into play. If we are guided and motivated by a person in our life, then we can become great human beings and do some good work for the society. But if we don't have anyone to guide us, then no matter how smart we are, it won't take long for our downfall. For example, if our clothes are dirty, then we must wash them with soap. Similarly, we are affected every day by the society and commit some ethically wrong acts that needs to be cleansed with an idol. If we don't make anyone our idol, it will be too late to rectify those things. Having an idol help us to do the right things all the time, as well as not to do some things which will harm our society. Also, important in our life is meditation or dhyan. Meditation using holy name is an important part in our satsang. Meditation leads to patience and discipline. Only living is not important. We are all living our lives. But to live an enjoyable and meaningful one is not common. For example, the flowers of the jungle grow on trees, as do those of the garden. But why do we put flowers of the garden in front of our Lord? They have a better smell and are more beautiful. So, flowers in the garden serve a religious purpose or have a profound significance to them. Secondly, whereas most flowers grown in the jungle seem to serve no purpose. In our life, similarly, discipline and patience are very important. These two things are the foundation of our lives. If we want to grow beautiful flowers in our lives, discipline and patience are important. As river water goes into the sea, it gets wasted. But if we channel this water correctly, we can have electricity from it, as well as use it for agriculture. There is one thing in common for all successful people in history, which is that they have all had the patience and discipline which comes from meditation. That's why meditation is very important. So I want to conclude by saying that we should always have an idol in our life to follow. Following their path, we can make our life disciplined, which ultimately leads to a successful life. Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Mr. Shreyang Gupta, you have explained this message wonderfully. You have clearly illustrated how to lead our meaningful lives under the guidance of the true master. Thank you very much. Now, our next speaker is Mrs. Abha Das from Toronto.
Jai Guru everyone. My name is Abha Das. I'm speaking about a Bani of Satyanusaran and elaborate it. According to Satyanusaran, take to the feet of a true master, go on taking the holy name, and remain in the company of the devout. Truly I say, you have no more to worry for your elevation. I completely believe this. If you believe in Thakur, devote your life to worshipping him and chant the holy name, you don't need to worry about your life. Guru, holy name, remain in the devote, development our judgmental power. Success will become inevitable if we work in the right direction after thinking and considering pros and cons. If we have proper Guru, we learn these things from him. Many people who ever become a member of Satsang experience this as the special mantra given to them during initiation would enrich and sharpen their mind, which would in turn have a positive impact of their everyday life. They feel peaceful and concentrate better in their work. It is established that adopting and practicing the holy name continuously will reduce stress, improve quality of life, and help us grow. According to lots of devotees, being attached to Thakur and surrendering to his godly agency, consists of taking a leap of faith and is bound up with the hope that Guru will work miracles in their lives and will elevate their personal sufferings, prevent crises, and will lead to a good life in general. Even though certain things are bound to happen, it is destined. But when we have faith in Thakur, those difficulties will be easily overcome. I started taking the mantra since I was 7, yet I still chant the holy name to this day. It has worked wonder for me all throughout my life. I would recommend for anyone to take the mantra too, and they can realize how much their life will change. At the end, I say, by seeking out the Guru's direction and by following his spiritual prescription is the right path, and this will help in all-round development, physical, mental, and spiritual. Jai Guru.
Jai Guru, Mrs. Avadas, for your insightful thoughts. She has beautifully explained her feelings as a devotee of satsang. If we surrender to true master and follow his guideline, we can overcome all pain and misery. Thank you very much. Next, our last speaker is Mr. Nilanjan Chatterjee from Edmonton.
Jai Guru, everybody. Today I have been asked to talk about Thakur's motto, Bani. Take to the feet of a true master, go on taking the holy name, and remain in the company of the devout. Truly, I say, you have no more to worry for your elevation. I think the message is profound in the sense that Sri Sri Thakur talks about a true master. In a life which is a long journey, we have two issues that we deal with, the physical and mental well-being. When it comes to physical well-being, we try to eat properly, sleep, exercise, have good medical healthcare professionals who take care of ourselves when we are sick, like doctors, dentists, etc. We go to school and we try to have good teachers. We try to look for a good workplace. When it comes to mental health, we try to be surrounded by good friends, good company, good habits. When it comes to a true master, it's hard to get one, but I think all of us today have crossed that barrier, and we are extremely lucky to have a true master in our life, in Sri Sri Thakur. Having accepted him, we have already won that battle. Once we have that, what it calls for is complete devotion, unquestioned. And the way to do that is completely surrender yourself. And those of us that have been with Sri Sri Thakur and believed in him know this in their heart of hearts, that it helps and really works. The doubt usually comes in the initial stages, in the early years. It's very much like when you appoint a new teacher as your tutor, or you go to a new doctor, or you hire a new employee. It takes time to build trust. It's the same thing. You question your true master when you're new with him. But as time passes, as in a long marriage, you build trust and you give up everything and you surrender. And there's a mutual relationship that builds with them. It's the same thing with here. And the easiest thing to do there is just take the holy name, which we all of us have, and we are extremely blessed to have that. It's a discipline. The way you take the name constantly is to think about it as a computer. When you're working on a computer, for example, when I'm recording this, there are programs that are running in the background. Taking the holy name is pretty much like that. Over a period of time with discipline, you almost make it a second habit where the name is going on. Or when you're doing nothing, you're taking a walk, you're just conscious. And instead of bad thoughts occupying your mind, it might be a better option just to keep on taking the good name, a holy name, and that'll help. The third part is when you are in the company of satsangis, of the devout, what it gives you is a positive atmosphere. And those of us that we have made it to North America, to Canada and States, we know that it has a tremendous impact on where you go from where you came. And that's the positive attitude and the positive atmosphere. With the devout, with the satsangis, you'll always get that. And that is one true advantage, because we are always talking about Sri Thakur. You're talking about good things. You're talking about the Almighty's hand over you. There's no place for negative comments. There's no place for negative thoughts. We all respect each other. And that's the great thing you come out with. Anytime you have attended any of these satsangs, doesn't matter whether it's for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours, you come out with a good vibe, and that energizes you, and that helps you to move forward till you meet the next. We don't do this very much here, but I remember when I was first initiated in Patna, I was just in high school, and every Friday we used to have a satsang on Friday evening, and I'd go. And that discipline helped, and of course I did everything else. Did my life change? 100%. Did I always have a smooth ride? No. But what did I hold on to? It was the trust in the true master, in Sri Thakur, and the holy name. It gives you the presence of mind. It steers you through rough times. It's pretty much like a long journey on a flight where the captain tells you, in this 7, 8, 10-hour flight, this is what's going to be. This is what the weather is going to be 3 hours from now, 5 hours from now. So you get a heads up, but ultimately you land. Do you entrust yourself completely to that pilot? You absolutely do. So when it comes to life, it's the same thing that you do. You entrust yourself, you surrender completely, devote yourself to the true master. And what that gives you is constant improvement. It gives you elevation in life, which is the peace, which at the end of the day brings back to our underlying philosophy of Asti and Vriddhi, which is to be and to become. I hope this helped. Thank you so much. Jai Guru.
Joy Guru. Our last speaker, Mr. Nilanjan Chatterjee, mentioned that if we do unconditional surrender to our true master, then we can avoid negative thoughts, and at the same time, we will be guided in the right direction to elevate our life. Perfect. Now let me recap the key thought of the last message. What is the summation of 700 slokas in Gita? Bhagavan Sri Krishna taught Arjuna in chapter 3, Ma manusmara juddhasya. Cha means and. Ma manusmara juddhasya, which means contemplate on me, think of me, and the battle of life. Contemplate upon the true master means meditation on him, think of him, do prayer, and do your duty under his guidance and fight the battle of life. So we are taught two things: surrender to the true master and do our duty under his guidance. We have to bring spirituality in our daily life. Sri Thakur said, you are for the Lord, not for others. You are for the Lord and so for others. That means when I am for the Lord, I can see God in everything. Then all of my services will be worshipped to our Supreme Lord. I would like to illustrate one story. One American journalist was taking an interview with Mother Teresa. Due to an emergency, at the time Mother Teresa had to take care of a leprosy patient. She took the leprosy patient on her lap and provided divine care. Later, that American journalist asked Mother Teresa, "How could you do this? Even if somebody gives me $1,000,000, I could never take a leprosy patient on my lap for care." Mother Teresa smiled and she said, "I didn't see the leprosy patient. I saw my Supreme Lord Jesus through him. My service was not a service for that person. It was a worship to my loved Lord Jesus. So, we are for the Lord and so for others." Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna Dev said, "If you hold onto a pillar and move round and round, you will never have a fall. But if you are not holding the pillar, after a few rounds, you must have a fall." Exactly. If I take the holy name and to hold on to my true master, I will be protected by him. How can it happen? The holy name is the powerful tool to support meditation. If we silently repeat the holy name or mantra in our mind, it helps us move beyond our thoughts and access the stillness within. We experience deeper awareness and reach to pure consciousness. It helps relax the brain and to control our mind better. We can stay mindful, reduce anxiety, and decrease depression. We know we are nothing without each other. Alone I can say, together I can talk. Alone I can enjoy. Together we can celebrate. It proved that our minds are exchanging each other. When we remain in the company of the devout, then collective wisdom can be exchanged and we can explore the path to elevate ourselves. We know Bhagavan Buddha Dev said, "Buddham saranam gacchami, dhammam saranam gacchami, sangham saranam gacchami." Henceforth, for the being and becoming, we have to take the feet of a true master. He is the absolute. When we have unconditional surrender and intense love to our true master, only then we can get the peaceful mind, joy, and freedom. We can feel secure because we are attached with permanent and detached from impermanent. So we can say life is beautiful. Now, I would like to conclude our panel of discussion. I would like to thank each and every participant for sharing their profound thoughts on the messages from Sutanusaran. I hope our viewers have enjoyed just as much as the participant and have found it beneficial to believe it in their life. Jai Guru and Bande Purushottamam.